After the most wonderful 4 days travelling in Glasgow and Oban with my mum, it was time to part ways. She headed home for work and I decided to spend 2 nights in Edinburgh because I'd never been before and it felt wrong to explore Scotland without experiencing the most famous city. And I can tell you, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Welcome to the most magical city during both Edinburgh Fringe and the military tattoo. But a little disclaimer, if you were expecting the gorgeous camera quality of my last video, let's just say I stayed in a 12-bed hostel dorm this time round and I felt a lot safer only getting my phone out. So enjoy the spontaneous, close and personal little trip in Edinburgh. Oh my god, now I'm alone. Just arrived in Edinburgh. I already miss mum. I don't want an adult. Look, casually. That's just getting off the train. So quite the change from staying with mum. I am staying in a 12-bed mixed hostel dorm room tonight. This will be the first time I'm in a hostel since backpacking. Hopefully I meet some nice people. A lot of stairs. And now it's raining. Oh my god, I hope I can get there before the rain gets too heavy. I really feel like a backpacker again. I'm soaking wet, but I found it. Edinburgh is so hilly, guys. You notice it when you have a suitcase. It's not an outdoor shower, is it? Okay guys, so I just asked 2 random people what's going on here at the castle, and apparently tomorrow is the start of the tattoo, I think it's called, where they bring loads of different military bands from around the world to perform, yeah, and showcase their march. Is it a dance? I don't know what you call it, a march, but it's so funny. I asked this one guy, he just looked really into it. I was like, oh, what's going on? And he was like, I have absolutely no idea. So yeah, it made me feel less of a tourist. My plan right now is to just wander around. I did peek in the lounge of the hostel, but it was all guys, and I don't know, I just wasn't in the mood. They looked like they all knew each other. I had my moments of just like social fear, and that was one of them, so I'll get over that later. But I did make myself ask the guy working at the hostel if there's any events on tonight. I feel like that's a good way to meet people. And apparently there's the ceilidh, which is a Scottish dance, and you know, I'm not much of a dancer, but I will give that a go. So yeah, about 9:30, I'm gonna go to the lounge. I'm so tired, but I'm gonna do it. We're gonna meet people and then we're gonna go dance. But for now, I'm just wandering around. It's so beautiful. I oddly feel like I'm in a book or a movie. Like everywhere you can hear bagpipes in the distance and the buildings are just so stunning. Yeah, there's an energy to this city. Quite a magical, historical energy. Yeah, let's go explore. When I'm in a new city, I love getting beyond the tourist spots and trying to get a feel for the place. I literally just wandered around the old town of Edinburgh aimlessly, and when I found narrow pathways which looked interesting, I followed them. I ended up in this secluded garden which was very cute, with this creepy black cat who kept staring at me. Eventually I started to get hungry and I looked up some vegan restaurants in the area. I found one called Holy Cow with really good reviews, so you know I had to go. I used to be really scared when solo travelling of eating alone. Let's go for dinner for one. I used to think that everyone would look at me like some loser with no friends. But firstly, no one cares, everyone's in their own zone. And secondly, it's really refreshing. I'm so much more present when I eat alone. I appreciate the food and the ambience more. Sometimes I bring a book, other times I just people watch. And at Holy Cow, I had this delicious fake salmon sandwich made of carrots, which is mind-blowing how that tasted good. I then skedaddled back to the hostel in time for the group to leave to the ceilidh, and I obviously didn't know anyone going, so what I did was I went via my hostel dorm room and I asked openly, is anyone going to the ceilidh? All 5 of the people in the room didn't even know it was happening, and 2 decided to come, so sometimes you just have to be brave to meet people and they'll probably be grateful too. Also guys, the weirdest coincidence, so a girl from the Philippines was sleeping in the bed next to me and she ended up coming, and she's a nurse, and we found out that she works in the hospital that I was born in. Crazy. Okay, now get ready for the most unhinged chaos you've ever seen. We learned 10 Scottish jigs at the ceilidh, and it is pure chaos. No one knows what's going on, but it's so fun. You just get chucked between people. You're crashing into everyone. You're constantly grabbing a partner, so you're making friends easily. Such a good way to get to know people. So fun, but very exhausting. That night, I got back around 1 AM and I settled into my hostel dorm room with the essentials. Good earplugs, an eye mask, and my valuables underneath my pillow in a bum bag. First view of the morning. Wow. It's such a busy day as well. I am just heading to a cafe to get some little YouTube work bits done, and then my plan is to go and see as many Fringe shows as possible. I'm gonna go with some people that I met at the hostel last night at the ceilidh. So beautiful. And then tonight I'm actually meeting someone that I met in Australia in Melbourne, and he's from Edinburgh, and he's taking me to see the military tattoo, which is happening right by the castle in the stadium up here. So it sounds good, and that's my main day in Edinburgh.
Written for you, put it in my window, waiting of you. Is it too much? Maybe I should take it down. I love it when they're blasting your shoes. Swear I got my great music taste from you. I would never be like them, you could turn it down.
Oh my god, you know I love the library. I have to go. I have to go to the library, I have to. I am currently heading to the Meadows, which is a park which was recommended by some of you guys. I just want to soak up the weather, soak up the vibes, soak up the weather.
Moonflower, I could watch you for hours. Must be lonely in outer space. Dream of our encounter when we finally come face to face.
Guys, the performances were so good. Okay, so I went to a comedy show. Her name was Chelsea Birkby, I believe. And I think what made the comedy so good, because normally I'm not really a comedy person. Normally I feel pressure to laugh and like don't always find it funny, so I'm just not a comedy fan. But what made this so good was that she felt so relatable. Like, she was kind of talking about growing up being a nice girl, being a people pleaser and trying to break out of that mold. But also I think a similar age, because I think she had a lot of similar cultural references growing up, like similar TV shows, similar music that influenced her and her personality. So all the jokes just hit, they really hit. So I was a big fan of that. Then in the name of spontaneity, I came out and someone handed me a flyer for another show, and they were like, yeah, it happens at 4:30 every day. And I was like, isn't it 4:30 like right now? And she's like, yes, would you like to go? And so I just went to this theatre show. It was called The Sleepover. It was kind of this coming of age show about 3 girls having a sleepover for the first time and asking each other questions about sex and sexuality and their bodies and menstruation and all this stuff. Kind of like lighthearted and funny. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that was really great. I just went to the hostel and chilled, rested for like half an hour, and now I'm meeting my friend Fraser for dinner. So that's gonna be it. And then we're going to see the military tattoo. So it's gonna be a good evening. I genuinely can't tell you how much I love Edinburgh. Like, such a magical city. I wish you guys could experience the energy here. I think because the Fringe is happening, there's just so many cool, creative people. The streets have become a lot more pedestrianised, like roads are closed and people are just performing in the streets. Everyone's trying to sell their show. I love it, I love it. I really don't want to leave. Look who it is! Fraser, part 2. Wow, the best local spot. Thanks, Fraser. Wow, this is so cool. The next morning was my last morning in Edinburgh, and I took some time to journal about the last few days. During the tattoo, I had so many moments when I looked up at the sky and thought, how is this my life? I felt such intense gratitude for being there next to this glowing castle, reunited with a friend I'd made a few years ago, looking up at the moon, listening to the most empowering music, and witnessing all these people from around the world coming together to give us a show. The energy in that stadium was palpable, and I just wanted to capture it all for future me. Last day in Edinburgh! Oh my god, guys. Okay, so I just went for breakfast at a random cafe, and they were so busy that they needed to put me, a family, and 2 other guys who were on their own on this one long table. And I'm sorry, when you're sitting on a long table, literally sitting opposite someone, you're gonna chat. And it was so lovely. I became friends with the girl from the family. She's from Pennsylvania and she studied in London this summer. And we just had a lovely conversation. We chatted with her parents, and the guy who was sitting there turned out to be an actor on Broadway in New York, which was very cool. And I don't know, it just restores your faith in humanity a bit when you have these conversations with strangers. I feel like it's not something we do in the UK that much, or at least where I'm from, like it's just not common to start up these conversations. So I really enjoyed it, and now I am going to enjoy my last few hours here by going to Calton Hill, which is a recommendation that someone gave me on Instagram. And yeah, that's it.